It's unlikely. I mean, these things are pretty secure. They're isolated off the internet, but it's possible. So, everyone talks about Stuxnet. So, Stuxnet got into a private network, not connected to the internet, and caused a lot of damage. So, this is sort of your example that this stuff can happen, but it's very hard. There's not, teenage hackers not gonna be able to do it. It's gonna take a lot of, very smart people, a lot of resources, but it's certainly possible. It's a good question. So unfortunately, we don't know, right? There's so many unknowns. We don't know what the governments have. We don't know what the militaries have. They don't want to tell us. They don't want to reveal their secrets. And so we really don't know what they have. I can imagine scenarios where it'd be awful and it could happen. Or I can imagine, 100 years from now, nothing has ever happened. So we just don't have enough to know. It's certainly possible, and it certainly can be very terrible, but you're not going to see attacks unless there's some sort of political reason. So you're not just going to see, just for no reason, China attacking the U.S. or the U.S. attacking, some other country. So it's going to be political tensions and, something close to the start of a real war, a kinetic war, before you would see a Cyberwar. And right now, that's not the case. I don't know if I would say I'm worried about it, but I don't think that really helps the civilian internet, and because the government they can't even really secure their own networks, right? So I don't have any faith that they're going to come in and be able to secure companies and enterprises and my home network, right? So if they can't take care of their own business, I don't see how it benefits anyone to have them come in and to try to help out everybody else. Well, I don't know what the alternative is, right? So you're never going to be perfect on defense, but the alternative is either deterrence, which means I have such powerful offensive weapons you don't want to go against me, but I don't really think that works. And and attribution's hard, and so the only thing I know that we know how to do and that we control, that we can work on, is defense. So no matter how hard some problem is, at least it's our problem and it's our network, and we have visibility into it. We can work on that. So I don't know if it's really the best thing to do, but it's the thing that we can do. So that's the thing I sort of focus on. Right. From a technical perspective, which is basically my realm, it's impossible. There's other ways you can maybe do it, with intelligence and human, people talking about, what they saw. But from purely technology perspective, you can't do it. You can isolate to a computer, and then if you could get a hold of that computer, then you can maybe track it back to a next computer. But there's really no way you can know for sure just on the technology alone. I think it's stupid, right? So the problem is attribution. So I'm fine with if you attack us, we attack you, but I don't want the situation where we attack the wrong person, right? Or it's a third party trying to get us to attack the wrong person, or something like that. So if you can't figure out who's doing it, then it doesn't make sense to be launching missiles. And even in a cyber attack, if someone attacked me with cyber, I'm okay with maybe trying to backtrace and trying to do attribution, even if it's sort of offensive in nature. But launching missiles is out of the question, I think, and without knowing who did it. So it's a good question. Last year I talked about how I thought for $80 million or something, I could basically fund an entire cyber army. So yeah, it doesn't take that much. In the grand scheme of things, a couple $1 million or something to do basically anything you want. So it doesn't take that much, and in that sense, maybe the bad guys, the small asymmetrical forces will have an advantage. But then again, if you look at something like, Stuxnet is the only example we really have of a really sophisticated weapon, and we don't know for sure who did it, but probably a very, very powerful, resource-intensive country did it. And so maybe that's a counter argument that maybe cyber weapons are so complicated that you need to have resources to do them. Even if you could maybe do it without, it turns out that the only example we have, it was someone who had a lot of money who did it. So maybe it's not as asymmetrical as we think. I mean, it's hard, right? No one really knows. I don't think there's really anything that points it out. I mean, the easy thing that comes to mind is that people are getting hurt, right? But I don't know. I think it's an open question at this point. I don't think so. I think it's, it was a worm. It spread. It did something, but it's certainly, if I was a country and someone gave me the alternative of, hey, we're going to put Stuxnet on your systems, or we're going to launch a cruise missile at you, I would certainly have chosen Stuxnet. So I don't think it rises to the level of war. Right, and the missile's for sure going to work, and you don't know, the Stuxnet requires someone walking in a facility with a USB stick. That guy could get caught or chicken out or whatever. So, and the technology might not work, or the exploits might not have worked. They might have gotten patches. So there's a lot of indecision and risk in doing Stuxnet, where with the missile, it's. It depends on what the cyber attack is, but if you look at Stuxnet, that was mostly contained, but they found it on other systems outside of Iran, if you assume that's the target. So, that was a worm, so it wasn't directly controlled by an attacker. But certain exploits are going to be launched against a particular system. You probably know where that system is. Worms, we don't really know for sure where they're going to go. You can try to make them stay, but you can pretty much direct them pretty precisely, I think. Let's see. Basically, I hope that we don't have a cyber attack, right? I like things the way they are. I don't hope that something big happens. I'm afraid something will happen someday, and I definitely think that people aren't going to do anything until something big happens. I don't think people really believe that there's a big threat. I do. I think there's a risk of a threat. I hope it never happens, but. I think we're going to just sit around and we're just keep doing the same thing, and eventually something's going to happen, and we're going to have to react. We're a reactive society. We're not proactive. So I think something will happen someday, and we won't be prepared, and then we'll get prepared.